End of year internationals, autumn internationals, northern tour, whatever you want to call it. We're going to pick a team of the week. There were two games on at the weekend. Scotland took on Tonga, and Wales and the All Blacks played. I probably could have started this last week because we had All Blacks USA and Japan, Australia. But here we go, better late than never. Hopefully we'll do one of these each week during November. A few more games on next week, so it could be a bit more interesting. But anyway, we'll pick 15 guys. Reasons why, and yeah, you guys can let me know your thoughts. We'll go through some honourable mentions at the end. We'll start with some props, and I've started with a Scot for the loose head in PIERRE SCHOEMAN on debut for Scotland. First game for him after spending the last few years at Edinburgh, and he looked pretty good. International level, not the strongest test that he will ever face, but by certainly it was no kind of cakewalk for the Scottish guys at scrum time. It was a bit of a ding-dong battle for periods. He scores a try, which is not a bad way to open your account. He gets 14 run meters. He has 3 passes, 5 from 5 tackles, but main reason you pick a prop is for the scrummaging, and the scrummaging was pretty solid. Didn't concede any penalties. Yeah, good kind of way to ease his way into test life. The guy he was up against was old David LOLOHEA from Tonga. Haven't seen him play for a wee while, to be fair, but he got a try as well. Got Tonga's only try of the game from close range. Good proper props try from less than a metre out. 19 run meters for him. He doesn't give away any penalties either. He makes 8 from 9 tackles, and he even wins a turnover. So if that's not kind of man of the match for the Tongan side stuff, scoring their only try and making a bunch of tackles, win a turnover, then I don't know what it is. So yeah, there are your props for this week. I've got to have an All Black in here in the front row, so I've gone with CODIE Taylor. Pretty efficient performance from him in an effort which was maybe overshadowed by a bunch of kind of razzle-dazzle stuff. Taylor was there doing the stuff you expect. Gets 13 run meters, couple of passes, makes his tackles with double-digit, 10 from 12. The line-out operates well. I think the All Blacks were 8 from 9 across the whole game. So kind of pretty consistent from him. I mean, Taylor is a guy that can sometimes kind of light things up with a bit more flashy stuff of his own, but he was kind of doing his core role very well in this one. I mean, you just see what effect it has. Like Wales in particular, a couple of key line-out throws go the wrong way, and you know, that performance is suddenly looking pretty shocking. But if you get it right, it may not be spectacular, but it sets your team up with a pretty good platform. Locks, I've gone with Hodgson from Scotland, another guy on his first appearance at test level, and again, kind of quietly doing his core role without being all that flashy. You know what I mean? Like, all the core stuff is fine. Like 5 run meters, there's nothing too startling about that. He has 7 passes, which is a fair few times to get his hands on the pill for a second rower. He has 11 from 11 tackles, so core role pretty solidly achieved there. He wins 9 lineouts, so aerially very reliable. And the Scottish lineout was kind of similar to the New Zealand one that was operating at a pretty high success rate. I think they might have missed 2. He does concede 2 penalties if you're looking for a black mark, but as a lineout operator, as a tackler, as a passer, you know, did all this kind of core stuff, no fuss. So good test debut from him. And a guy at the other end of the experience scale is old Sam Whitelock. Yeah, he also, he's not doing the BEAUDEN BARRETT stuff, but he's doing the core locking stuff, man. 10 from 10 tackles. He wins 4 lineouts, so very similar to Hodgson in that regard. Doesn't help that RITCHIE and Alun Wyn Jones kind of went off injured, so it's hard to gauge them in terms of the performance levels as well. But yeah, 3 passes, 7 runs, 6 meters. He's got a bit of a habit recent times of trucking it up and not going all that far, but I guess sometimes that's his role. He's been criticised for a little bit. I think in that loss against Argentina, he had a ton of runs and was going nowhere. But that may have been a kind of a tactical thing. But overall, I thought Sam Whitelock looked pretty solid for the ABs this week. Lucy's a lot trickier to pick. Blindside, I've gone with Jamie Ritchie from Scotland. Put in a really good shift, a wicked offload. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty magnificent stuff if you're looking for the flash. But 22 run meters, beats a defender. He has 4 passes, 14 from 14 tackles, wins 3 lineouts. So again, man, just doing a bit of everything that you want him to do. Was he Scotland's top tackler? I forget now, but I think he might have been, which is not always easy to do when you've got Hamish Watson playing alongside you. But yeah, pretty good effort from Jamie Ritchie, who was co-captain for this one as well. Open side, I think I would go with Dalton PAPALII. There were a few good performers in the open side this week, but Dalton, I think, really stepped it up a notch. I know Sam Cane is the All Blacks captain and he's going to be back, but when he's not there, you've got Dalton filling in pretty well. He gets a try, which is a nice kind of pounce on a line-out, which was a wee bit messy, but he has 3 runs, 24 metres, beats 2 defenders, has 2 passes, has 2 turnovers, 1, so it's the tackles, it's the breakdown stuff. 12 from 12 is the tackles, and yeah, he does concede 2 penalties, so lots of 2s for old Dalton, but you want him to be making his tackles, you want him to be getting the turnovers, and everything else is kind of a bonus, and he gets that with a try and some run meters, so happy days from him. And number 8, I think there is only one for this week, and that was SAVEA. He just seemed to be on another level from even his own teammates at times in this one, man. He has 2 try assists. He's an integral part of that kind of Harlem Globetrotters style try that Sever Reese ends up finishing off. But man, 10 runs, 72 run meters for a Lucy, that's massive. For a back, that's massive. For anybody, that's massive. 6 passes and an offload. Beats 2 defenders. Has a clean break. Makes 9 from 9 tackles and gets a turnover. What doesn't he do? I guess he didn't get a try. Boo bloody who. But man, SAVEA was properly looking the business for this one. 9 is a kind of a tough pick, man. I ended up kind of just going... I went with Ali Price, because he just did the kind of core role stuff well. If you want the guy who carried a wee bit more and scored a try, you go with TJ. But I think he, at times, was a little bit slow. It's hard to judge with halfbacks, man. You basically just want them to bloody get to the ruck and spin the ball out, right? Maybe make some nice box kicks if you want them to play territory. But, yeah, I thought Ali Price just did his core role. You know, it was no... He's not going to give him a 9 out of 9 performance, but he's a solid, you know, he's a 9 out of 9. Where the hell did that come from? 10 out of 10? 9 out of 10. He's a solid, like, you know, without being spectacular pick, right? He does everything. He makes his passes. He puts in a few kicks. They're pretty well measured. He does concede a couple of penalties, which is a bit disappointing. But he beats a defender when he does run it. I don't remember him running it a lot, but he does have a defender beaten registered. 2 from 3 tackles is like okay, but does he get to the ruck and get the ball out to the players who need it? Yes. There you go. That's him for this week. I mean, you can make an argument for any of them, to be fair, but there you go. Ali Price. Number 10. First 5, there was only one. That's BEAUDEN Barrett. He gets man of the match in his 100th match, which is a hell of an achievement on its own. 2 tries for him, both of them intercepts. He is, man, that awareness and his gas. Both pretty lethal stuff. 6 runs, 2 clean breaks, funnily enough. That'll be the 2 intercepts. He has a defender beaten. He makes 102 run meters. In terms of his distribution stuff, 15 passes, 11 kicks, and 6 runs. So kind of a nice mixture from him. He's kind of keeping people on their toes. He does concede a penalty, but he also has 2 offloads. 1 from 2 tackles is not that flash, but man, overall, yeah, Bodie was in pretty good form, wasn't he? And he doesn't kind of draw the attention as much as he used to when he doesn't have to do the goal kicking, eh? When his brother's doing it, he can kind of focus on more his all-round game. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Going forward, midfield, also kind of a tough one, but I've gone with Sam Johnson from Scotland. Another one where he was like not the star of the show. It was all about the wingers in that Scotland performance. But if you look at him, he's just consistently very solid. Doesn't do much wrong. 25 run meters, 3 defenders beaten is solid without being, you know, SAVEA's 72 bloody run meters, but it's good. He has 2 clean breaks. He has 8 passes, so he's distributing well. That's kind of what you want him to do. Some 12s forget how to pass the ball and like to hog it. Not old Johnson. So there you go. 4 from 4 tackles and wins a turnover. It's all pretty happy days, isn't it? So yeah, I thought he was quietly very good in an effort where some of his teammates just stole all that spotlight. But there you go. Other midfielder, I've gone with ALB, who kind of likewise, I mean, he was doing a little bit of the flashy stuff, right? Because he does end up getting a try. He does end up getting a turnover. So some of that kind of individual stuff, which looks good for him. But 5 runs, 27 metres, kind of similar to Johnson's numbers. He has 2 passes, so not called upon to pass as much, but defensively makes 8 from 8 tackles. And like I mentioned, that turnover. So, yeah, he's just... Even when ALB has kind of a quiet game, he's still pretty good. So, there you go. Pretty happy with ALB there. Only left with the outside backs now where it's very competitive. Very competitive. And I've gone with, on debut, Rufus McLean. If you haven't seen his performance, if you only watched like the All Blacks of Wales, you should go back and watch it, man, because the guy looked the business, man. Proper like ankle breaking sidestep on Fiver, the fullback from Tonga. 2 tries on his first game, 101 run meters, beats 6 defenders, makes 3 clean breaks, a pass, a tackle, and a turnover. Pretty good way to start things out for him, I thought. He's looked really good at the URC level, and it's really good to see him kind of kick on at test level. It's only his first game. It's a game where they put 60 points on the board, so it's hard to read too much into it, but it's certainly a good first step forward. It'd be hard to go past, on the other wing, a guy in Kyle STEYN who scores 4 tries. 4 tries. First time since the 90s, I think they said someone from Scotland has scored 4 tries in a game. But Kyle STEYN, 4 tries, 84 run meters, beats 8 defenders, 3 clean breaks from him, 3 passes, 3 tackles, and an offload. Second game for him. So first game, McLean, you get 2. Second game for STEYN, you get 4. So I guess we can expect McLean to score 4 in his next game, and STEYN, I don't know, by the time he gets to a 4th game, he should be scoring 8 per match. But there you go. Pretty happy days with the Scottish wingers. Fullback, maybe this one's going to be a bit of a controversial one. I'm going to go with a Welshman in Johnny McNicholl. Now, admittedly, he did set up BEAUDEN with that final pass, which was intercepted and scored upon. But I don't know, man. One mistake, I don't think, rules him out for the whole match, right? Like, there's other guys who had errors, like CODIE Taylor missed a couple of tackles. Are they as costly as an intercept pass? Maybe not, I don't know. But McNicholl, in terms of like actually looking legit dangerous, he still looked legit dangerous. 12 runs, 115 run meters. Sure, as a fullback, he kind of gets some of those pretty cheaply on the return, but he also manages 3 defenders beaten and a clean break. The All Blacks defence wasn't giving up a whole lot, so the fact that he generated that much I thought was pretty encouraging. He has 12 passes and 2 offloads, but as I mentioned, one of those he'll kind of be wishing he didn't throw. 3 from 4 tackles. He does concede a penalty, but I genuinely thought he just looked sharp. Yeah, if it was another day, he might have been able to get on the scoreboard, but not to be. But yeah, there you go. You can certainly pick other fullbacks. I know Darcy Graham got flattened at one point by Walter Fafita, I think it was. But was it twice? But yeah, anyway, you could have your picks. Jordie Barrett, pretty solid. Kicked a bunch of goals. Missed a few, but, you know, happy days. Honourable mentions, like I mentioned, it's pretty hard to leave out Jordie Barrett. Will Jordan for that absolutely moment of magic try, but the other dude who played right wing scored 4 tries. You could say, oh, well, he scored it against Wales and STEYN only scored it against Scotland. Yeah, you can make that argument if you like. But, I mean, 4 tries to 1. Not all the STEYNs were kind of cakewalks either, so there you go. Taine Basham, I thought, was a bit of a bright spot in their Wales performance. He's their top tackler. He got like 3 turnovers, 1. So yeah, he was looking pretty lively, and he's still very young in terms of his Test career. Kinghorn ran the show pretty well for Scotland at 10, and this is his first start at 10. at this level. Tupulotu had a good debut for Scotland as well. Wainwright was another bright spot. Moriarty was getting through a few tackles before he had to go off. Blackadder got through a heap of work for the All Blacks. Both of the Fafitas for Tonga. The lock lever got through a bunch of defensive work, and Walter, like I mentioned, I think was the most dangerous of the Tongans going forward. But yeah, those are a few honourable mentions. You guys let me know what you reckon. Please do support the channel on Patreon if you enjoy the content. That kind of stuff helps the channel keep going. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Looked up the stats, picked a few guys. As always, you guys let me know your thoughts. It's far from a perfect team. It's just my one. But yeah, as always, you guys have any thoughts? And we look forward to more games next week. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.